Trump's not ever going to become president, right? Right? And you replied, no, he's not. We'll stop it.
That text was written late at night in shorthand.
I don't care when it was written. I don't care whether it was longhand, cursive.
FBI Weasel Peter Strzok recently blurted out, "I'm concerned. The things that I have heard the Attorney General say, some of the actions of the Department of Justice, unfolding or rolling back the prosecution of General Michael Flynn, the sentencing of Roger Stone, give me great concern." You won't hear this sycophantic Trump derangement syndrome sufferer praise Attorney General Barr, no matter what he does, even if Barr is dealing with an American war zone in Chicago.
The increase in violence that has plagued Chicago and other cities is what prompted the department to launch Operation Legend 2 months ago in Kansas City, Missouri. The operation is named for Legend Taliaferro, a 4-year-old Kansas City boy shot and killed while asleep in his bed. The purpose of the operation is to make clear that his life mattered, his name should be remembered, and other innocent victims like him, including the 8-year-old girl killed in Chicago on Labor Day, should not suffer such senseless deaths.
Police canvass yet another crime scene and try to find the person responsible for killing another one of Chicago's children, while another family figures out how to mourn a little girl.
Over the past 2 months, federal agents involved in Operation Legend have made more than 2,500 arrests, many for violent crimes, including homicide and sexual assault. Bringing federal charges is significant because defendants arrested for violent crimes are often detained before trial, unlike state defendants who are too often released. In addition, federal defendants will face serious sentences if convicted, with a real possibility of long-term imprisonment at the Bureau of Prisons facility out of state. In Kansas City, violent crime has dropped by 32% since we launched Operation Legend. In St. Louis, homicides have dropped by 47% in the 4 weeks since Operation Legend began. In Detroit, homicides have dropped more than 25%, and non-fatal shootings have dropped by more than 35%. In Memphis, homicides in August dropped by nearly 27%. In Milwaukee, non-fatal shootings have dropped by 25% in the 5 weeks since the operation began. Over the first 5 weeks of Operation Legend in Chicago, murders dropped by 50%.
One of those cases, the 4th of July Inglewood killing of 14-year-old Vernardo Jones Jr.
On Independence Day, 14-year-old Vernardo Jones Jr. was playing basketball with friends in a Chicago park when he was senselessly killed in a massacre that left 8 people dead or wounded.
Investigators are releasing images of this gray Infiniti sedan with temporary tags seen near the fatal shooting, police say, of 20-month-old Sincere Gaston, the youngest life taken during a weekend of extreme violence.
That was my world. That coward took a piece of us. He broke us. He stole my baby from me.
Police say a person fired shots into a vehicle carrying the 8-year-old, DeJoy Wilson, her mother, and 2 others.
For the 4th straight weekend, children are among the shooting victims. At least 60 people have been shot, 9 of them killed.
In fact, protesters/rioters are doing all they can to stop the federal response to their ongoing communist death to America mantra in blue cities across the country.
The group on Friday night saying 100 federal agents coming to Kansas City is not the answer.
There's no black mafia. There is no conspiracies of murder that are taking place. The reason that this violent crime is taking place is because there's a lack of resources in our community.
Multiple people are arrested during a protest against Operation Legend in downtown Detroit. Detroit Will Breathe organized the protest to speak out against federal agents who were sent by the Trump administration to assist with the increasing gun violence.
In Portland, they've been messing with protesters for the last week, and we don't want them here. I expect more protests for as long as we need to. We'll be out here for an entire year if we need to.
The armed militia that went down to Lansing, they had swastikas and they were mainly white men, and so there was no federal troops there.
It doesn't actually fix the problems that are plaguing our communities. It puts further pressure on this pressure cooker that is squeezing our communities without resources.
We do not want or need federal interference in local affairs.
We do not want a federal occupation in the city of Memphis.
This is an ideological, political ploy to justify and continue the criminalization and over-policing of black and brown communities.
Many of our community members already feel unsafe by those who are engaged in criminal activities within the community. We don't need to have someone who we hope is there to serve and protect us also there to over-police us.
It gives me hope that maybe if we can keep pushing and keep the movement going, that our kids won't have to be fighting for the same thing that we've been fighting for over the past 500 years.
But regardless of Attorney General Barr's common sense approach to the madness, these fools in the streets ultimately continue to support the violence they represent. Their neglect to face the truth results in their hypocrisy to aid and abet the continuation of American children being exploited and murdered. This is no longer a peaceful protest. It is a parade of domestic terror, waging war on the children of America.
Operation Legend is going to happen, and with or without y'all, it's going to happen.
Sharon Powell is a grieving mother fighting for justice for her son and many other families who have lost a loved one.
We have 20 to 30 shootings a week in the Kansas City metro area. Operation Legend is to investigate murders that has been unsolved, and one of those is for my 4-year-old son that did not make it to 5. So if you're against that, maybe you have to reevaluate your stance and your mentality to see what direction you're headed in.
John Bowne reporting.